as we celebrate the Cup here live from Grant Park. The buses are beginning to move from the United Center. How about that? We're a little early. This thing's not supposed to really kick off until 10:30, but why not? 10:17, buses moving. That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing that it's starting to move, because they want to get everybody in here in place and get the rally going. And our Rich King is with the team on one of those buses. Hey, Rich.
Well, we're on bus number 21 with Patrick Sharp, Duncan Keith, a few other guys. The buses are taking off. You see the first row just about out here. There's been fans lined up here. When I got here a couple hours ago, the fans are about one line deep. Now they're about 3 or 4 deep into those barricades across the street here outside the United Center. There you see some of the guys, Carcillo, Emery, Boland, one of the heroes. So the buses are taking off, and we're going to take off momentarily. A beautiful scene here. The security rather tight, as you might imagine, but this is a very well-organized event as the Blackhawks take off. On our bus, we have the team mascot also, as we said earlier. And we're going to take off here in about, I guess, about 2 or 3. Well, we're going to go right now. Well, stay with us here as we take off and see some of the fans outside here. This has been I mentioned a well-organized event. They got the area roped off here, so the police are in charge. You see, as we take off bound for Grant Park. This is the second celebration we've had here, of course, in 4 years, and it's always a pleasure. I tell you, I was on the White Sox bus, which was a pleasure. The first Blackhawk bus when they won it 3 years ago, and now this one. This is just a joy to behold. As you see the fans, everybody happy, waving at the players that come by, and
Rich, can you hear me? I think we may have lost Rich. Okay, I think we may have lost Rich.
You know, it's a lot less chaotic down there at the United Center than it is here. I thought if you really want to just see the players get on the bus, because they're milling around, you know, right in front of everybody down there.
Yeah, because nobody close to them up here.
No, they're pretty much barricaded off, and then there's a VIP section of Blackhawks friends and family right in front of the stage, and then stars themselves will be on the stage momentarily. You know, I took the train in this morning from and walked to Grant Park up Washington, and they were probably a couple of deep at 6:20 this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so the parade route should be something to behold as they make their way up Washington.
Now, Rich is on bus number 21. I'm curious as to how many buses there are in all for this parade. They're going pretty swiftly too. Look at.
Well, you know, if Rich is talking to, like, he's got Seabrook, he's got Sharp,
my new crush,
and your new crush, and a couple of other players and their family members.
And the mascot as well.
And the mascot. I mean, you've got to have a number of buses because you got a number of players and their family members. Plus, as Dan said, you got administration there too. So wow.
Well, what they've done this year too, I think the reason they have so many more is last time a lot of the people, staff and those kinds of people, were on the insides of the buses. This time they have everybody up on top so they can experience, you know, what it's like to see all the people along the way and all that. So that's probably why they have more buses this time than they did last.
And that makes a lot more sense, definitely. And then it's
a lot more fun for everybody, that's for sure.
And it's a beautiful day, so no rain, no cold. It's perfect, and they can see this. I remember last year, or I should keep saying last year, but last time around they won the Cup.
2010.
They had all of the confetti coming down because it was more towards the downtown area.
They have confetti along probably along the entire route, but I saw when I was walking at about 8 this morning on Columbus Drive, they've got teams. I think it's called
the confetti team.
The confetti team with Blackhawks T-shirts on, and they've got these
machines.
The machines.
Oh, gotcha.
And I probably saw a dozen of them. So they're gonna be doused. They're gonna be doused.
Yeah. That'll be fun coming up Columbus Drive. A picture we had a minute ago, and the crowds out there are massive. Huge.
Yeah. It's going to be fun cleaning up that confetti.
And the park here is beginning to fill up a little bit more, although I'd say it's only about half full at this point in time.
Yeah, I expected it to be really filled up to where the barriers are, but it's kind of moving. They're moving around. It's loosey-goosey. It's not too tight.
I'm on board with Dan Roan's theory that they may only let like 100 grand in here, 100,000 people in this place that could hold like 250, 260, because for obvious reasons.
Crowd control.
Crowd control, keep it safe.
See what's going on, security reasons, and that might be what Gary McCarthy was thinking when he set that up and set the limit to that.
And that's what the United Center stuff and the parade route are about too, so people get a chance.
Yeah, everybody will get a chance to take it in, take in the whole fun of this this celebration, which is what it really is.
That's the Rich King bus right there.
Number 21 will be looking for that when he gets off. And I guess they'll pull around. I'm assuming this bus is going to pull up. These buses will pull in behind and take them off so they can go right to the stage.
My guess is we will see them right here, literally. I mean, where we are sitting, we're probably, 400 or 500 yards from the actual stage. And whatever little roadway or passageway through the park that this is right here, which is not quite Roosevelt.
Right, about 5 blocks from Roosevelt.
Yeah, exactly right. And Balbo's to our north here.
North of us.
I'll bet we see them get off the buses right here within 100 yards from us.
Yeah, and they'll just spill out and go straight to the stage, and they'll begin the program, which is expected to begin at about 11 o'clock, right, where they're going to start the program itself?
Yeah, I mean, they're ahead of schedule now. I mean, this thing, the parade kicking off down Washington was supposed to start at 10:30, so we're early.
Well, it's probably a good thing kicking off early because we said there's so many buses. They've got to get them down. They want everybody to get a chance to drink it in along the parade route. So by getting there a little bit early, and believe me, the crowds have been here early, so it's not like anybody's going to miss it, because those who wanted to come came very early to get a chance to see their favorite players.
This morning when I drove Micah's limo in and picked her up from her house, we came down Lakeshore Drive, and I was shocked at 7:15, 7:30 in the morning how few people were on the road.
Zipped right through.
People, I think people have avoided the downtown area by taking Friday off.
Right.
If you had to work, you had to work. But it looks like the beginning of the parade, which would be the street sweepers.
There you go. They're cleaning up as they go along, so they don't have to do it later.
Start the parade.
Wouldn't you put them in the back?
We've officially begun. Well, you know,
it looks like a Zamboni.
You've got the Reinsdorf crew in front there, so he's got the White Sox, and
they clean up before and after.
His buddy the Wirtzes are celebrating today, so let's get a little White Sox love in there.
I want to say this about the players. We watched them play all season long, and these guys, the forwards, take 45, 50-second shifts before they exhaust their energy and have to go change. A defenseman, maybe a little bit longer than that. Their stamina for what they've been through since they landed in Chicago.
Amazing.
And running around town with that cup. Forget about hockey.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
And the adrenaline. I mean, I didn't know there was that much adrenaline. Rich, are they geeked? Are they happy? Are they pumped?
Oh, they are pumped. They are very happy. You see them sitting in the back. Brent Seabrook, Sheldon Brookbank, Patrick Sharp, and Duncan Keith. Duncan Keith kind of keeping a low profile, as you might imagine here. We are right now going down Ogden, I think, making a turn. And crowds here all the way along the way. All the way. There's the Billy Goat and lines out there. But these players are really pumped. I'm going to see if I can grab a quick interview here with Duncan Keith, since we haven't had him. Hang on a second. Duncan. Can come up for a second? Come on up. We haven't had John yet.
Okay.
What's it like?
It's pretty good. Yeah, we like it.
I told you it was low key. What's the week been like since you won the cup?
It's been fun. Yeah, it's nice to celebrate with good teammates, friends, family, sisters right here. Sister Becky. Yeah.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
What's your name?
Becky.
Becky. I imagine you're pretty proud right now.
Very proud of him, yeah.
What's your where's the beards?
The beards. Well, I had to shave mine off. Mine was getting itchy. I had a few things caught in it, but some of the guys still got theirs. And, no, it's good. I had to get that one off me, though.
Okay, thanks, Duncan. Duncan Keith and his sister, a lot of the family on here as we head down up. We're turning off down another street here and heading toward the Grant Park, guys. So you guys have a better vantage point than I do right now. I'm kind of swarmed in here among people, so back to you.
We don't see it yet. It's going to be a few minutes yet, but I have to ask this question of you, Dan. I know last time when they won, they kind of broke up the team because a lot of them had a lot of high salaries. This year, they say most of them will stay together, but Brian Bickle, for instance, July 5th, he becomes a free agent. Could we lose him?
Well, you could, although the way Bix played during the playoffs in particular, I mean, the regular season as well, but in the postseason he was spectacular. I think they're going to do everything they can possibly do to hang on to him. It won't be anything like it was in 2010. There won't be that big purge that they had back then, although the salary cap is going down this year because partially because of the lockout and the new agreement. Right. You know, they lost a lot of revenue this year. So I think that while it's not going to be what it was in 2010, they're going to lose somebody.
Yep.
There are a couple of guys on the borderline here of not coming back, and there'll be a few that don't return. But for the most part, they're going to bring just about everybody back, and that really bodes well for not only for next year, but for a couple of years beyond that. Kane and Taves have a couple of years left before they renegotiate for some kind of astronomical money.
Right,
I mean, they're
this.
the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Enormous.
Let's face it. But I think next year and the year after that, they should be in pretty good shape. And, you know, they won the Cup this year. There's a pretty good chance they're going to be right back up in there next year and the year after that.
I mean, you really have to give Stan Bowman a lot of credit for.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he didn't build the core, obviously, but as Micah points out, with that salary cap problem that he had in 2010, he did a great job with bit pieces, bit parts, even like
Did it again this year.
Yeah, Michael Handzus, those types of Roosevelt, those types of players were crucial to this win, and he'll probably do it again.
Yeah. Let's go out to Nancy Lou, who's with the crowd. Hey, Nancy.
Hi, you guys. I'm here with a few thousand people at the intersection of Michigan and Washington, and this will be a great vantage point when the parade comes down Washington and makes this turn onto Michigan. But check out how many police officers we have here. This is because, as you might recall, back in 2010, when the buses made a turn, fans rushed the buses and stopped the buses in their tracks. So this is why we have this many officers here as the buses make this turn here. It will head up, the parade will head up to Randolph and then stretch across Randolph. And get this, you guys, they have cleared most of Randolph because as the buses head under, they're afraid that people on the upper deck of Randolph will try and jump into the buses with the players. But we hear a whole lot of cheering down the way. Fans are hoping that the parade will get started soon, but we have quite a police presence here because of the turn that the bus will be making here. Now, police tell me that the buses will actually go pretty fast through this area because they want to get around and start heading down Columbus Avenue, which is the heart of the parade. And police also tell us that anyone caught jumping a barricade will be arrested and land in jail. So all of these fans have been warned. They're pretty well behaved right now, but they're having a great time. Let's check out how the scene is with my friend Julian. How are you?
Hey, Nancy, we are fabulous. It is just such an incredible atmosphere here at the start of where this parade will begin. The bus is just minutes away, and you're looking at pictures of people that got here early and lined up, a lot of families, a lot of kids. And you can't see them right now, but I'm standing right next to two young guys here, two 12-year-old boys, Brennan 9 and his buddy Sam Sullivan. Now, Brennan is a hockey goalie. Is that right, Brennan? You must be so excited. What are you excited about right now and witnessing history?
Seeing all the players come by and holding the Stanley Cup, hoisting the Stanley Cup, and making me happy that our town has finally won the Stanley Cup 2 in 4 years.
So Brennan 9 witnessing history here along with the multitudes of fans that are lined up here. So Micah and Dan, just a very exciting moment. And once again, we're seeing the beginning of the bus. The bus is arriving with the Blackhawks, and this is the moment that this crowd has waited for here. And if you needed any more proof, Chicago does a parade like nobody else in the country. Just a beautiful blue sky, and you know, this is just an amazing scene here. People have gotten here 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning to see this.
All right, my good friend Julian Cruz.
Yes, my good friend.
I'll just leave now.
You got a good look at a couple of the buses, and maybe our first good look of the day at the Stanley Cup. I think Jonathan Taves had it on the back of the first bus that was also carrying Rocky Wirtz and John McDonough, Jay Blunk, and a bunch of the other people responsible for what's happened with this hockey
Did I see the
team
coach on the first bus, or was that?
I didn't see. I couldn't tell if Joel was on there or not.
Okay. Let me ask you this: who decides who gets to have the cup that day? Do they pick from a raffle or a?
Dan's got the answer to that.
Well, normally, now I don't know, because of the lockout and the shortened time that they're going to have to get the thing around the world. Basically, they have 6 people from Europe that have to have a day with it. Normally, the guy who's played the most games in his career in the NHL gets it first. And as it was the other night, when Johnny handed it off to Michael Handzus, it would be Handzus who's played the most games of anybody on the team, so he should get it first.
Okay.
He's Slovakian. We also have Marian Hossa, Slovakian.
Right.
Michael Frolik, Czechoslovakian, and 3 guys from Sweden on the club.
Oh,
so
it's going to be gone a while.
so, yeah, I don't know if they're going to do it all at once.
Right.
I know the keeper of the cup would be happy if they did it all at once, so he doesn't have to make all those trips back and forth from the U.S. to Europe.
Well, Patrick Kane had it David Letterman the other night, too, so he got to keep it for a while.
That was probably a team thing, though.
That was a team thing?
Because he came right back.
Gotcha.
He flew there, he taped it at 5 o'clock, and then he was right back with it. So he'll probably have his time in Buffalo with that one.
And who had it last night? We saw, was it Shaw who had it at home? Remember you tweeted out?
No, it was your boyfirst, Patrick Sharp.
It was my
It was at
boyfriend.
Sharpie's house, yeah. I can tell you one place where it's probably going to be tonight. This is a pretty good story. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. Nancy Lou, we'll check in with her down there on the parade route. Nancy?
Yeah, we're at Washington in Michigan, and look at all my friends. Say hi. They've been waiting all morning and waiting patiently, I have to add. The buses will turn the corner here. You guys will get a good look at the players. Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see most? Which player do you want to see most? I think that's lost in translation.
It's so exciting to be here. And these guys are so inspiring. They worked so hard all year. They make us feel so proud. And the fact that they are so down to earth is just makes us feel like, why can't all sports teams be like this?
What do you think it'll be like when they come around and you actually get to see them in person?
I hope I can hold it together. I'm so excited and emotional right at this moment.
Is this more special than 2010?
Well, I feel because I love the fact that they work so much as a team, and in addition to that, they just seem so respectful of one another. They're so willing to help each other, and they don't really care about themselves as much as they care about the whole team. You know,
It's obviously care about them. Have fun. I don't know if you guys are still on me. I have no idea if I'm on. Here are more of my friends. And here are my police friends. They will get a very good look at the buses when they come around. Say hi. How you doing? Who do you want to see when the buses come around? Who do you want to see the most? You want to see Patrick Sharp? Yes. Yeah, right. And why Patrick Sharp?
because he's amazing.
What would you say to him?
I would tell him that I love him and that he's my favorite. And that's what I tell him.
Okay. She loves you, Patrick Sharp. How about you? Who do you want to see?
I like to see Kane.
Why?
I like Kane's too. Yeah, I like the MVP. Hopefully, see his trophy too.
All right. Mark, Micah. Back to you.
All right,
Nancy, thanks very much. Interviewing Mike Mateer, talking about how she loves Patrick Sharp and would love to hug him.
Dad, finish telling your story about the Stanley Cup.
Well, you know, the lockout happened, and because of the lockout, players were banned from any contact with the organization.
It's a great story.
Totally separated. So The first night of the lockout, Rush is playing a concert at the UC, and a bunch of players went there. Rocky Wirtz found out that the players were in the building watching a concert.
That's illegal.
Oh, they can't watch a concert? Or they can't go to the United Center?
Can't be in the
Called
United
UC
States.
security, told them they had to leave.
No way.
I mean, he wasn't mean about it. He just said, these are the rules. You guys can't be in there. So Rush is playing tonight down in Tinley Park.
Okay.
And I have a feeling
the Cup
that the Cup may make an appearance on the far south side tonight.
That's a great story.
Just to make a point of it, definitely. Well, you see them making their way through, and they're coming to Daly Plaza, going right past it, so you can hear all the cheers, and everyone just so excited that they're finally seeing the champions. Kids are really excited. Can you believe that they're so knowledgeable about this?
Dan, I think it's probably easy to say that this time, yes, the Blackhawks won in 2010. The fever was probably a higher pitch because they hadn't won since '61. This time, though, I think they've got a wider base of fans.
There's no question, Mark. In fact, I don't know if I'd even say it was at a higher pitch back then. It may be at a higher pitch now. The players and some of the people I've talked to who've been around the Cup since they've been back in town, taking it around to the various watering holes. It was at Studio Paris for a while the other night, and it's been all over the place. They say it's even crazier.
They're more in tune with folks now, you think?
They're just more of them. They saw how much fun everybody had the first time around, and everybody's a little bit of bandwagon jumping there.
Okay, the confetti's getting ready to start.
I think we're about to Michigan Avenue here.
And it's going. The confetti's in the air, and there are your guys you saw today. They're cranking it out.
Yep.
Wow. This is so much fun. You know, you were talking about more of a fan base and people getting more involved. I think women even more so getting involved. Could it be because we've got a good-looking crew this time, or what do you think the attraction is?
I think people jump on when there are winners. And let's go down to Nancy Lou, who might have a good viewpoint of the first bus. Nancy.
Hi, you guys. We're at Washington in Michigan. This is where the parade's going to turn. You can see they are here. The buses are here, and the crowd is just so thrilled. I'm going to shut up so you can soak in this fabulous moment.
JT.
And the Stanley Cup just went by. And here's Rahm Emanuel. And here come the players.
I thought I saw the mayor pumping his fist on one of those buses.
Yeah, the mayor was on the second bus there. And here come the players. We see some of the hardware that they earned throughout the season. But of course, the Stanley Cup was in front.
You're going to see the Conn Smythe Trophy before too long. We understand Patrick Kane is on the last bus, and I'm sure he's got that with him.
There's the mascot, so that's where Rich is.
Yeah.
That's Rich's bus. Yeah. Good old number 21.
We're hearing the biggest cheers.
Well, Nancy, when you see bus 21 and Rich King, you got 5 more after that. I guess 26 total. Now I'm hearing some booing. That must be for the mayor.
Or the governor, or both.
And as I mentioned earlier, as the buses turn onto Randolph, we have Illinois State Police patrolling that area to prevent any fans from jumping onto the bus from the upper deck of Randolph. But everybody is so excited that the bus are going slowly that we're worried that they're going to just fly through this area. And police were concerned that fans would rush the buses. But they are taking it slow here around Randolph. And soon they'll be turning onto Columbus and then down to the rally.
And we'll will get a chance to see them. It's all hands on deck. I mean, Illinois State Police, Chicago Police, everyone wants to make sure we're safe here today. The security is tight.
I like Nancy's tidbit that they had Upper Randolph cleared out so nobody jumped into the bus.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It only takes one.
Exactly.
A Tomasulo, a Conrad, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
Thank God we can see one of them from where we are right now. We know he's in good hands back.
We got our eye on staff? Yeah, we do. Okay. Tomasulo's handcuffed back there. He's fine.
The sea of red is phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. How'd you like to have a quarter for every Blackhawks jersey you're looking at right now?
You know, Rich.
That Blackhawks organization is making up for anything it lost pre-2007 when, you know, like we said, Dan, United Center would gather, maybe 4,500 on average, and Bill Wirtz was struggling with what to do. Should I put him on TV? Should I not put him on TV? Should he be on radio? Should he be on radio for the first period, the second period, or the third period? And as it turns out, Rocky flipped all that on its head, put him on everything, and suddenly a star is reborn.
Well, you had some forward-thinking people come into the organization with John McDonough, Jay Blanc, and Rocky, who was desperate to get things turned around. I mean, that thing was quite a drain on the Wirtz business empire, the way things were going. And, you know, there were kids around town. You'd see kids wearing Rangers jerseys and St. Louis Blues jerseys, not Blackhawks jerseys. Nobody knew about them because they were just invisible.
So and what was the key that flipped it around?
Television is one of the bigger things.
Bill Wirtz passed away, basically, and one of the, you know, the second owner, and he was a stubborn man.
Mm-hmm.
And I had talked to him once in a one-on-one, and he was not very happy with me at all when I said, Bill, seriously, why are you not putting them, as Dan just said, on television? And his reason was because he wanted to cater to his season ticket holders, not give it away free. And if somebody's going to pay the top dollar to go to these games, he wanted to make sure that they had a special seat and that you couldn't just sit at home and watch them. Well, that, in this day and age, is obviously the exact wrong thing to do. Because
old thinking.
Yeah, well, because what your son probably watches the Blackhawks now and says, Daddy, please take me to a game. Yes. All right, let's go to a game.
Exactly.
Well, that's exactly right. And not to mention the fact that when all this was going on, there really wasn't much high-def television. Back then, you couldn't even see the puck on television. So it was always better, and still is, of course, to be there at the United Center to watch the games in person. I mean, the game day experience these days, and I've been in a lot of different arenas the past year or so, Chicago does it better than anybody else.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Starting with the national anthem. Starting with a video beforehand.
Yeah, all the videos. Yeah. The Blackhawks TV crew is really spectacular. They do an unbelievable job over there. The videos before the Boston games in Boston at the Garden, not so good, really. I mean, okay, but the stuff they do here at the United Center is just kind of spine-tingling.
It's obviously paid off. And plus, it gives the players some incentive as well to know that they've got folks out there cheering for them and they're behind them. I think it keeps them going a little bit more.
Pumps them up.
Yeah, definitely.
Pumps them up.
And they are pumped today, that's for sure.
You know, in Michigan Avenue, there's the Hawk store there. I used to walk past there, go in there every once in a while, buy a T-shirt, and I might have been one of two people in there, you know, patronizing the place back in, you know, 2000, 2003, 2004. And I remember I took my son, who's now 18, to our first his first Blackhawks game, and we were literally driving down the Edens, down toward the Kennedy, to get to the United Center, and I looked to my left, and I saw this unusual car. This is our very first game, and that I took him to, and he was probably 10 years old. And I saw this unusual car with suicide doors, a Lincoln, Lincoln or Cadillac with suicide doors. And I looked, and it was Bill Wirtz. And his wife was driving. It was a Sunday morning. I think it was like a Sunday 1 o'clock noon game, something like that, just the two of them. And I said to my son, you know, honey, we're going to get there. We got great seats. I bought these tickets last night off the web, and we're, you know, 10 rows up. And the reason I could buy them is because of that man right there. I don't think he's marketing this club the way he should be. And he literally said, that's the owner? I said, that is the owner, Bill Wirtz, right there. Maybe a couple of years later, he passed away. And like we said, the rest is history.
Well, they were running the franchise on kind of a skeleton crew. There weren't very many employees really right there at the United Center or at the stadium. And they've more than doubled the amount of people that work over there, maybe 2.5 times what they used to have. It's well over 200 people now, and the difference is just night and day, obviously. I mean, you can tell by the success they're having.
We got to that game that day with my son, and you could hear during the action the puck hitting the stick, the coaches yelling, and my son, first hockey game, he said, kind of sounds like a practice. That's how few people were in the stands.
Well, I think the season ticket base was down to 4,500, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I think the buses are now in Columbus, right near Millennium Park, if I'm not mistaken.
So they're not too far from us right now.
They're not moving. They're stopped. I guess they're waiting to make their grand entrance.
Boy, look at the people.
Grand Park. Oh, my goodness.
So, Dan, go back to Micah's question about who might go. Ryan Bickle making about $600,000 this year, which makes him grossly underpaid based on what he had, the kind of playoffs he had. And I think he would have had a better playoff against Boston had we known that his knee was so bad, but they were trying to keep him away from that big boy Chara, 6'9" guy. Who else might not, I mean, who else recognizable that was maybe a force in the playoffs here might not be here next year?
Well, the first guy that comes to mind wasn't really a force in the playoffs so much, mainly because Coach Q sat him down quite a bit.
Yeah.
That'd be Victor Stahlberg. For whatever reason, he's fallen a bit out of favor, it seems, and Victor's the fastest skater on the team. Yeah. He's got a lot to offer somebody, but he has some areas of his game that need to be refined, and I don't know if the Blackhawks are comfortable keeping him around. They may not. So he would be one. I don't know if they'll re-sign some of the veterans. I think Ray Emery, the goaltender, who did such a phenomenal job
17
with Corey Crawford, split the Goalie of the Year award with them, with Corey Crawford. I doubt that he'll be back only because he's priced himself out. Because he's going to get paid somewhere. And Bickle, you know, I talked to his dad on the ice after the clinching game the other night, and he, such a nice guy, like all these hockey people are, you know. He said at the end of it, he said, "Thanks for taking such good care of my son, and I hope he's back in Chicago."
I heard him say that.
And I said, off camera, I said, "Make sure he gives the Hawks a little hometown discount." And then he just laughed and walked away. So I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think Bix will be back, and maybe at the expense of a couple of guys.
Yeah. Do you think Ray Emery will be a number one for somebody next season?
Well, he certainly showed that he can do it. You know, he's coming back after a hip surgery a couple of years ago that a lot of people thought he may never play again, and he showed this year that he was absolutely terrific. So I'd be shocked if he didn't get a really good job somewhere.
You know what was amazing, Mike? I don't know if you heard Dan talking about this about 2 days or 3 days after the Stanley Cup finished up. The number of injuries these guys were playing with was beyond.
I mean, how do you play with broken ribs and all this other kind of stuff?
It makes Derrick Rose look foolish.
Yeah.
When you hear what in heaven's name some of these guys. That's a beautiful shot right there. That's a respectful mosh pit right there with a flag.
Yeah, yes, no, those guys are, I'm sure, far back in the back, a little bit away from the huge crowd, but that's really nice. Pat Tomasulo is not necessarily in the crowd.
No, Pat Tomasulo is right next to us, but we'll get to him in just a moment. But in the meantime,
live from 10 feet away, I'm Al Franken.
You're talking about those injuries, though. Yep. The one that really jumps out is Patrice Bergeron.
Unbelievable.
Who, and we didn't see how it happened, but it was in Game 5 here in Chicago. He broke a rib and then tore rib cartilage, which is almost as painful. I've had that before, and it's not fun. So he goes to the hospital to make sure he doesn't have a punctured lung.
Yep.
Gets up, out of the hospital in the morning, on the plane back to Boston, and in uniform, and played the whole game. And of course the Blackhawks were kind of looking for him to, you know, see how soft he might be. He stuck it out for the most part. I remember looking through the first 2 periods of ice time, and he was right up in there.
And I think he had a separated shoulder amidst that too at one point.
In the game.
Yeah.
In the game. Who was the one who couldn't feel their leg while they were?
Hossa, Marian Hossa.
Marian Hossa, yeah. A bulging disc in his back, which may require some surgery here in the offseason. But Bergeron, back to him, he had all that stuff, then separated his shoulder in the game, as did Nathan Horton of the Bruins.
Yeah.
And Bergeron also apparently has a punctured lung now.
Oh, is he here? Is he on the bus?
Well, no. He's a Boston player.
Oh, see, that shows how much I know.
There you go.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
He may be on a bus somewhere, but he's not on any of these.
He's not on this bus.
Straight to Boston Medical.
Oh, goodness.
So, and I think, you know what I think this explains to me, Dan, because as a fan, as just a knuckleheaded fan like me, I get frustrated when I see, why isn't he matching up this guy with that guy, this guy with that guy? Well, the coaches are having to play these these injuries that we don't even know about, so they can't match up that guy with that guy when they're hurt, and they're trying to protect their players.
Well, sure. And then, you know, Coach Q, he didn't have Kane and Taves and Bickle together all the time. That just came midway through the series. Part of the reason was because Zdeno Chara was beating up Johnny, and there was no help on the other side. When Kane came in and Bickle and those guys were together, Chara couldn't pick on everybody. You saw Kane kind of break out there.
I can hear Skycam 9. Let's go up to Aaron McElroy. What do you see, Aaron?
All right, guys, pretty amazing vantage point from up here. They have turned onto Columbus, and they're coming down the main strip here. They're going to be in front of Buckingham Fountain in just a couple minutes, where the crowds are easily 20 to 30 deep. Really seeing a huge turnout here. At the very front of the line, we've got Jonathan Taves, the captain, holding that Stanley Cup, and then there's 9 other double-decker buses behind them with players, family, team members, and taking up the tail end, that's where we're seeing Seabrook, Patrick Sharp, Duncan Keith, Rich King's on that bus 21, and Patrick Kane taking up the tail end, that very last bus. So there's the first one. You see it at the top of your screen on the left-hand side. That's the one with Captain Jonathan Taves and the Stanley Cup. And the crowd is pretty thin along this part, but once you get there further along by Jackson and Congress, it is really thick, and thick leading right up to Grant Park and Hutchinson Field. You know, they said they had a capacity of 100,000 for Hutchinson Field, and when you saw the people, the crowds just pouring in there, literally running to nab a good spot. Earlier this morning, I thought, man, this thing is going to be filled to capacity. But it looks, you know, from up here, an aerial view, it looks like it's just under half full. But I'm assuming a lot of these folks that are lining Congress right now are going to soon just start pouring into Hutchinson Field the minute this rally kicks off at 11. They have been on schedule. They said, the Chicago police said they were going to keep this thing moving and keep it safe, and they weren't kidding around. They actually stepped off about 6 minutes early. But take a look at these crowds. I mean, unbelievably thick sea of red Blackhawks fans as these guys start making their way down towards the big rally at Hutchinson Field. We're going to pull back out so you can see. That's Hutchinson Field. It's packed. You can see as we pull out here, it's about, looks like just over a third full with all the action down towards the main platform. But as you pull out here on Congress, that's where you see where the crowds are getting really thick, and the buses heading down right in front of, it looks like Buckingham Fountain. All right, down in the middle of all of this, our own Patrick Tomasula. You still standing down there, Pat?
Yeah, I'm standing. You know, just to touch on something you guys were talking about a little while ago about a whole new generation of Blackhawks fans. Look at them, all little tiny miniature Blackhawks fans. They're all very excited. Good-looking group, handsome group, if I might add. Now back to the shenanigans. They're only 10 minutes away.
I'll tell you what, nobody can stir up a crowd like that guy.
I will say this, I don't even have to say that. Tangerines! Doesn't matter what you say. Baseball bats! Yay! Who are you most excited to see today, my man?
Blackhawks.
Okay, this is a very specific answer. I like that one very much. How about you? Who are you looking forward to seeing?
Andrew Shaw.
Andrew Shaw is a very popular pick amongst this crowd. It's probably because he's only 6 years older than half of the people out here. We are excited. We want the Hawks.
Let's go Hawks! Let's go Hawks!
They're excited back here. We'll send things back up to you on your cushy little hillside set over there with your tents and your air conditioning.
Somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody's got to do it.
What can you say? What can you say? But there is quite the crowd out there, as he said.